Hello and welcome to the 28th Annual Get Lit Festival. I'm Kate Peterson, Director of Get Lit Programs, a nonprofit organization housed within Eastern Washington University. Our program is responsible for Get Lit, Washington State's longest-running annual literary festival. We host dozens of free and low-cost readings, craft classes, panel discussions, a full book fair, and more every April in downtown Spokane. This year, we're thrilled to be joined by Tessa Hulls, Willie Vlaughton, and Keitcha Kuipers, alongside 60 other talented writers from across our region and beyond. You can find a full schedule of all in-person and virtual events, along with information about all of our festival authors by visiting our website, getlitfestival.org. Now I'd like to welcome Mackenzie Draper, GetLit's Assistant Coordinator, to introduce today's event.
Thank you so much, Kate. Welcome everyone to Magic for Memoirists, using flash prose, fiction craft, poetry, and hybrid forms to shape and complete your memoir. We're so excited today to explore the craft of writing memoirs from new and unusual perspectives. We have with us authors Amanda Williamson, Keiko O'Leary, and Lita Kurth, who will show different techniques from other genres that can be used to improve and eventually complete your manuscript. Whether it's finding a plot to hook your readers, unveiling truths through the lens of poetry, or simply keeping yourselves inspired, there are many lessons that these authors have learned from their own experiences, and we're excited for them to share those with us today through readings and presentations. I'll pass it back over to Kate to get us started.
Thank you, Mackenzie. We'll go ahead and start today with Lita Kurth. Lita is the author of One Creative Writing Prompt a Day from Callisto Press, as well as Writing Memoir in Flashes, published by Thinking Ink Press. She holds an MFA from the Rainier Writers Workshop at Pacific Lutheran University and has received multiple Pushcart and Best of the Net nominations for fiction and creative nonfiction. She has taught creative writing at De Anza College, Creator School California, and elsewhere to students aged 8 to 80, from jail residents to professional writers. She is co-founder of San Jose's Flash Fiction Forum, winner of the Diana Woods Memorial Award from Lunch Ticket, and recipient of several fellowships to creative writing conferences. Please welcome Lita.
Welcome, everybody. I'm going to start by sharing a flash memoir piece that was published in Watershed Review, and then I'm going to offer you lots of ideas for your own flash memoir. If you're here for the live stream, feel free to put questions and comments in the chat. So here we go with the piece. It's called Are We Not Ladies? I didn't go to church today. I didn't pray. I didn't share. I dyed my hair. My mother's daughters dye their hair, all 7 of us, with Lady Clairol or Nice and Easy, L'Oreal if it's on sale. At home in the kitchen sink, ammonia stinks up the nostrils. Children, husbands, even cats wrinkle their noses. But there, my mother and my mother's daughters dye their hair. 45 minutes for stubborn gray or ultra light. Hate that gray, wash it away. We're in transit to be ladies, aren't we? After walking around under a tower of dye-soaked hair, we rinse the straw-like strands, unnaturally stripped, and apply a smooth, soft conditioner. Set a timer again, 2 minutes. Throw away the one-size plastic gloves, towel dry with our oldest, raggiest towel. We will be ladies, won't we? Even when we had a wood stove, no telephone, no running water. My mother's fingers swiftly built pin curls on her head, rose, and in the morning, when she brushed it out before changing diapers and baking bread, such beautiful Katharine Hepburn waves, so ladylike to wear on the dirt path to the outhouse. Through the decades, index fingers and thumb managed bobby pins, sponge curlers, brush curlers, small-sized orange juice cans, hot rollers, the all-girl curl from Dippity Doo. In our fists, we brandished curling irons, blow dryers. We can do it. But not all daughters could follow the boldness of my mother, seated in a kitchen chair, aided by sister or neighbor, applying a stench times 10 home permanent. A delicate affair like canning meat. Results could be disastrous. I never dared. If things went wrong, I'd look like less than a lady. The 60s came late with long straight hair, bangs, nothing to do for years but wash and apply a little lemon juice. We are women, not ladies. And then my mother's daughters resumed teasing, blowing, and spraying something bad away, walking out with halos of great big hair around our faces, big, important hair. Eyebrows dark, but on our heads, a crown of platinum or strawberry. We said we'd quit dyeing at 50, but the shame of gray roots could be erased so easily, sometimes for only $6.99. Safe for the next 6 weeks. Sufficient time for ladies, women, girls, or desperate consumers to search the shelves of Walgreens for natural instincts. Nice and easy. Brilliant. Preference. Excellence to go. On sale. Now I'm going to give you some writing ideas that could result in many different flash pieces. And they can be based on a picture, either in your mind or an actual photo. Have you ever gone through a box of old family photos, maybe from your parents, and thought, I wonder who that was, and thrown it away because they didn't have any meaning to you? A lot of people want to write memoirs so future generations will know who those people were and feel the vitality of their lives. We also want to explore our own lives, to ponder and reflect on paper, to take our lives seriously. Do you have a photo you'd like to write about? If you're on the recording, pause and get it. And before you begin, please be assured that there's no wrong way to do it. You can skip parts, you can do it in a different order. You may start writing on one topic and find yourself writing something completely different and beautiful that has nothing to do with the prompt at all. That's the unconscious. That's your muse. Let it be your guide. So first, take 3 minutes, you might set a timer, to look closely at the photo without writing. I strongly suggest this, even if you know the photo well. Of all the things that help writers, it seems to me that the simple act of paying attention really ignites creativity. And let me give you another tip that I wish I'd received when I started writing memoir and fiction. When in the writing people say and do things, readers get that wonderful watching a movie kind of feeling. So here are some questions to help you put yourself or the people in the photo around you in motion. When you look at the picture, is anyone holding anything? How are they holding it? What would they ordinarily hold in their hands and use? Can you remember your mother's shoulders going forward and the heels of her hands pushing into dough on the table? These don't need to be dramatic movements in order to be engrossing. If you're lucky, you might have a photo of a finished project. Then you can write about working on that project, the materials, ideally the arguments, how it turned out. I remember a terrific piece one of my students wrote about restoring a vintage car with his dad. It was a wonderful time working together, even though very challenging, and it turned out superb. But not long after, the car got totaled. And his father's response was, well, want to start working on another one? I begged my student to give a copy of that piece to his dad for Father's Day. And that is one terrific use of flash memoir as a gift to someone on some occasion. Well, I'll just say a word about details. You've probably heard the devil's in the details or God's in the details. But one thing for sure, details help us see, hear, and experience your world. And that's how you convey your experience to somebody who doesn't know you. So here are some prompts in the who, what, when, where category. So going back to that photo, what are the social markers? Do you have any feelings or memories about the shoes, the clothes, the hairstyles, the glasses? Which of these brings up the strongest feelings? Do they call to mind any incidents? Could you write a whole paragraph just describing a pair of glasses? There are fabulously fun and interesting pieces you can write, maybe even bittersweet or tragic, about a single piece of clothing. How much did it cost? Where was it bought and by whom? What was it made of? What did it feel like to wear? Warm, scratchy, soft? Is the photo true to the real colors? Was it in fashion at the time? Were you proud of it? Resentful because someone made you wear it? Ashamed because it was shabby or ill-fitting? What's your opinion now? The recreation of the past and then your view of it now is kind of the essence of many memoir pieces. So going on in our journalists' questions, where was the photo taken? Is it a place that still exists? If not, how do you feel about that? If the place matters, you can be off to the races with even several pages about all its details. And is there anything in the background, like wallpaper, that you never noticed before, or that you have questions about? Then when? Sometimes the year, the time of year, the time of day matters. Sometimes it doesn't. Was it a special occasion? Was the photo taken before or after a significant event? In a photo of my father's family, all 15 children and his mom and dad are present. His mom is still mobile, sitting in a chair, but she spent the last 15 years of her life lying in bed, able to move only her head. That was the only way I ever knew her. In a professional photo of my brother-in-law's wedding, my beloved mother-in-law was very ill with cancer, but there's no evidence of that. And that wedding was the last time I saw her alive. If, as you answer these questions, what people said and did come to mind, write it down. Stories are the gold. And then one more thing you can do to put your personal stamp on a piece. How you compare things can be a way to be very individual. There's a wonderful memoir by Reina Grande called A Dream Called Home. And she talks about digging up plum roots in her grandmother's backyard. And she says they were crunchy and starchy like jicama. She describes it in terms of things that she knew well. I might have said like raw potatoes. Also, as a mother, she describes the sauce as looking like baby throw up. In another wonderful book, In Cuba, I Was a German Shepherd by Ana Menendez, she says, two men set up their double rows of dominoes like miniature barricades between them. Doesn't that say a lot? She also says the sky is a shade of blue that is like night remembering itself. Isn't that such a beautiful expression? The comparisons we think of put our own signature on our memoirs. They show people how things look to us. So go back through your writing or back to your photo, see if a comparison comes to you. If not, don't force it. Many memoirs have only one comparison in 300 words, and some have none. So to wrap up, I will just mention that my book, Writing Memoir in Flashes, is available for pre-order on Amazon. And pretty soon you'll be able to order it in bookstores, which I prefer. And then I also teach a memoir class a couple times a year at Creator School CA. So happy memoir writing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lita. Next up, we have Amanda Williamson. Amanda's work has appeared in New Ohio Review, Mezzo Cammin, Valparaiso Poetry Review, Baltimore Review, Midwestern Gothic, and other journals. A graduate of the writing seminars at Johns Hopkins University, she has been an educator for 30 years for young people and adults. She is also a Pushcart Prize nominee and a past poet laureate of Cupertino, California. Currently, she's working on a poetry memoir about her youth in rural Ohio. Please welcome Amanda.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. I'm Amanda Williamson. I am a writer and a teacher, and I'm going to talk about writing a poetry memoir. A poetry memoir is a collection of poems that are interconnected. It could be about a person's whole life, an important part of a life, or even about a place, a community, and a time. Many contemporary books of poetry have poems about all kinds of things, and they can be enjoyed one at a time. A poetry memoir is different because it can tell a big story in carefully crafted little pieces. And because these poems, your poems, I'll say, because I hope you will do this, because the poems are interconnected, you don't have to try to explain everything at once. You can let your readers discover who you are as they recognize the connections, poem by poem. As you write, you might discover more about yourself as well. You might see how patterns and paths in your life reoccur, and you might see how important objects can become powerful symbols. As you write more and more of these interconnected poems, you'll be making your memoir into a piece of literary art that often has more layers of meaning than a traditional long-form prose memoir has. So here's a useful comparison. Writing a traditional long-form prose memoir can be like painting a self-portrait. You have a big canvas, and you can paint yourself posing in a certain way, with certain things in the background and one shade of light falling on you. And if you're not satisfied with the image, it can be hard to revise it. You might even feel like you have to start over, and that can be discouraging. But writing a poetry memoir is more like assembling a self-portrait with pieces of stained glass in a window. Each poem is a tile of colored glass, and when you arrange them in the manuscript, an image of yourself will emerge from all these colorful pieces. If there's something missing, you can always write another poem. You can change colors or moods with a few carefully chosen words instead of revising a whole chapter. And you can rearrange the order of the poems in your manuscript many times until you get the portrait to look just the way you want. And then the sun will come out and your memoir will glow. So today I would like to share two of my poems with you and tell you how they help me structure and plan my own poetry memoir. And then I'd like to recommend some texts that you might enjoy and find useful. And lastly, I would like to offer you a creative community that can help you to finish or begin or continue your poetry memoir. So, poems. My poetry memoir is going to focus on my own childhood and adolescence. Choosing this formative stage in my life, not my whole life so far, is helping me finish. I can shape the story of my youth with poems because I can arrange the pieces many times the way I want. A good story also has an interesting setting and well-developed characters and some type of conflict or challenge for the main character. So my setting is going to be rural Ohio in the 80s and 90s. My characters are certain friends and relatives, and the main character, spoiler, it's me, is challenged by isolation, abandonment, finding and losing love, and eventually gaining strength. I want to start by sharing a poem that I'm going to put early in the manuscript. And I'm going to put it at the beginning because I think it will help to illustrate the place where I'm from and the things that I like to do with my sister and our friends. And this poem is called Candy. Let's see, I'm going to share my screen now. Okay. Candy. Don't go in the river. All the time they told us that. Don't go across the road or in the woods or down in the ravine where somebody's old stove lay rusted red. That's tetanus, they said. Don't stomp the beans. It hurts the yield. Don't stuff the outhouse full of sticks. No matches, knives, or kerosene. No saw. No nail gun, damn it. What the hell is wrong with you? Can't leave you kids alone. Don't use the boat. Don't put mosquito spray cans in the fire. They blow up, dumbass. And don't go in those abandoned cabins. We said okay. Oh, childhood, gnawing on gutters and window panes, waiting for a witch who never came. That poem was published in a journal called Red Wheelbarrow, and it's a Shakespearean sonnet. A Shakespearean sonnet with soybeans, mosquito spray, and an outhouse. Part of the fun of my poetry memoir is to put my humble beginnings in a highfalutin form. What a contrast. It's really fun, and you can do this too by thinking about the place where you come from and the light that you want to shine on it. Next, I have a poem about a tree leaning over a river, and it's also about something else. This is called Catalpa. A doe swims beneath it, her ears back, black nose huffing, hooves churning unseen. Her witness, only the catalpa. Ice scarred and endangered by its weight, it grows at the edge of erosion, leaning from sycamore's shade on the bank, roots exposed. Spread crown, splayed branches, all of it open, its large, heart-shaped leaves following the sun all day, turning almost imperceptibly. It's June, and the tree has burst into improbable blossom. Consider its situation. Think again, and watch it throw its white froth, white fire over the water. There is no flower like this. Wild bells tremble, high in the breeze, their pale scent impossible to cultivate or even held singly to discern. That's why it does this. Just once each year, burn everything. Pull and drink, sun and river, and flare hard with its one thrust of beauty. Here, it says, and it hopes it's enough. Sweet bee, find me. The insides of the blossoms are flecked with blood. On the island, the doe staggers up through the mud. That poem appeared in Valparaiso Poetry Review, and I'm going to put it in the middle of my memoir. This tree becomes a symbol for my teenage heart. When you're looking at your own life through poetry, you'll notice how important objects are turning into symbols. And once you notice that, your memoir is going to get really interesting. I'd also like to say that it was hard for me to write about the way I felt at that time. I avoided the topic for years in my own writing because I worried that if I started thinking about a painful topic, maybe I wouldn't be able to stop thinking about it. Something that helped me to do that was writing in a form. If you look carefully, you can see that this poem is written in rhyming or slant rhyming couplets of varying line lengths. One of my teachers said that if you choose a form, like a sonnet, it becomes a fence, and your mind can feel safe in there, bouncing around, exploring your difficult thoughts, but it's still containing them. I love writing in form. If you're doing this, be assured that you don't have to think about any painful topic forever because those formed poems have limits like line counts or rhyme schemes. You can imagine the difficult feelings as like a wild horse, but the form is a fence, The horse isn't going to go anywhere. It will not get out and trample you or distract you from your life. And you can call this freedom in form. And now I'd like to share a few texts with you. If you are a poetry memoirist, or a poet, or a memoirist, or a human who likes to read, you must see this. Spoon River Anthology by Edgar Lee Masters. This was published in 1915. It is set in a cemetery. The residents therein, the dead, are speaking to the reader about their intertwined lives and deaths in a fictional Midwestern town. And as you go through the poems, person by person, headstone by headstone, you start to notice how they mention each other and the way that they were entwined in life that sometimes resulted in each other's deaths. It's a masterpiece. Read this. Next. 100 years later, exactly, 2015, a poet, Laura Day, published Tributaries. After the Indian Removal Act of 1835, our nation forced Indigenous people on more than one trail of tears, and the Shawnee were among those who traveled from Ohio to Oklahoma on foot. Inspired by her personal experiences and Shawnee history, Laura Day gives us a vivid and intensely detailed view of that brutal journey and the people's tenacious survival. Next, you could enjoy The Blizzard Voices by Ted Kooser. The words are very faint, but there you go. The Blizzard Voices. This was published by Bison Press in 2006. The poet used newspaper accounts, letters, and diaries to tell the story of the blizzard of '88. That's 1888 on the Great Plains, and the people who lived through it. Like Spoon River, each poem in here is written in the voice of a different individual, but they're kind of an everyman or an everywoman. He doesn't give names to the individual poems. So you can imagine many, many people represented by each one of these experiences. The last book I want to recommend is this. It's called Lawrence Booth's Book of Visions by Morris Manning. This is the winner of the Yale Younger Poets Prize from 2001. Morris Manning mythologizes the landscape and the people that he grew up with, and his book makes me think of fact and fiction as a sliding scale. You can think about this too. Will your own manuscript be 100% true, as a traditional memoir is meant to be? Or will it drift toward an artful tale that's based on your life, where you might change a few things for the sake of good poetry? How much, if anything, will you, as a writer, alter for art? So I'm turning myself into a character, kind of like Manning did. My own poetry memoir will be almost 100% true, but seasoned with enough fiction to make objects like the catalpa tree into a symbol. And I can also use some of those almost true writing techniques to show how important events in my life that were not chronologically close together are actually like spiritually or developmentally close together. And it's easy to move pages of poems more easily. It's easier to move the pages of poems than to shift around huge chapters and revise parts of them. Poetry. All right, so lastly, I'd like to close my talk today by offering you some encouragement and support. You can do this. You can write your memoir with poetry. It will be creative and surprising, and your loved ones will enjoy reading it, and you will enjoy writing it. If you'd like to find a community to keep you inspired, then you might like to know about my class. I teach a poetry class for adults every Friday from 3 o'clock to 4:30 online. The challenge of the content is approximately equal to an undergraduate creative writing course. Every week there's a new topic, so you don't need to worry about feeling lost if you can't come each time. We mostly study contemporary poetry, but also some pre-20th century gems. And every class will give you prompts so you can be started on a new poem. Lastly, we also take time to workshop the poems, which is optional, in a caring and constructive way. The main thing I'd like to say is that I'm not only teaching folks how to write poems, I'm teaching how to write groups of poems, whether that's a little trio or an entire memoir manuscript. So this class is a little bit different from many others in that we're going to be looking at small pictures and the big picture. We take breaks to thoughtfully look at the progress of our manuscript, not just one poem at a time. It's a group of super duper nice people. Here's some more information. It's called a poetry memoir class. It's online, taught through the Bainbridge Island Senior and Community Center. If you're interested, you can go to the website here. There's my name. You have to pay $25 to join the Senior Center membership, but after that you can sign up for the class and lots of other things through the center for a whole year. I warmly invite you to come. It's full of really nice, creative people, and they're also supportive of each other. So thank you for listening and attending, and I wish you all much success with your memoir writing. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much, Amanda. So great that we're getting so many recommendations and prompts and ways to connect with you all. This is great. Last but not least, we have Keiko O'Leary. Keiko is the author of Your Writing Matters, 34 quick essays to get unstuck and stay inspired. She helps writers see the big picture while taking meaningful action today. She teaches workshops, speaks at events, and is a former Cupertino Poet Laureate. Keiko loves to send real mail, especially poetry postcards. Please welcome Keiko.
Hi, everybody. So I'm Keiko O'Leary. I'm the author of Your Writing Matters. And I wrote this book so that you would have a friend when you need to keep going. And I wanted the title to be Your Writing Matters because I figured if people only read the title, then I said the most important thing that I have to say. This is a collection of essays, and I talk a lot about my personal experiences in them. So I learned from the Get Lit conference that that's actually a type of hybrid memoir. And I'm going to read a part to you. It's a couple of minutes long. Your writing can make a difference. Through your writing, you help people experience meaning, not only in what you write, but also in their own lives. My wish for you is to develop a true and living relationship with your writing, for you to accept yourself as a writer, for you to find community with other writers, for you to share your work and know that it matters, for you to know that in this beautiful, meaningful endeavor of writing, you are not alone and you are welcome. I made this book so that when you doubt those things, you have someone who will help you get back to believing in them. While I was working on this book, I got a chance to go to the O'Leary family picnic for the first time since before my kids were born. So much more than a family reunion, the picnic defines and celebrates what it means to be an O'Leary. The picnic happens in Montana, and though no one has ever treated me badly in Montana, when I was a kid, the state was not exactly a model of ethnic diversity. Back then, my sister and I were, as I recall, the only non-white people at the picnic. I guess my mom was also non-white, but come on, who has that kind of insight about their mom? At home in diverse California, we were constantly being asked, "What are you?" and having to explain that we were half Japanese. But at the picnic, we were never treated as half O'Leary. We were 100% O'Leary, just like everyone else. Nowadays, there are O'Learys of many races at the picnic, with different percentages of O'Leary blood. But everyone is welcomed as a full member of the family, because that is what we are. At my writing group, I insist upon welcome. Everyone must be welcomed, because we are all writers. We are all part of a family, and that is more important than anything else. even if you haven't written for a long time, even if you're just dreaming about writing and haven't started yet, no matter what you're saying to yourself about how you could never be long or be good enough or whatever, if you're reading this book or if you're watching this video, I'll bet you're a writer. Maybe you're not confident enough to call yourself that yet, but look into your heart and really do this right now. Do you see the desire to write? You can trust that desire as a sign that you are part of this family. You need never doubt your belonging again. Instead, do as our family does. Write. We are waiting to hear your words. Welcome home. You belong to the family of writers. Please write. And please seek out writing friends. Find a writing community. That's the one thing you can do that will make more of a difference than anything else. This book would never have existed without my writing community, actually communities. Every step of its creation only happened because of my writing friends. I struggle with imposter syndrome, and by myself, I never could have sustained belief in my own worthiness for long enough to create a book. But my friends at Thinking Ink Press basically forced me to publish my book. And my other writing friends at Prolific Writers Life held Zoom sessions where I did the actual work. You don't have to do it alone. In fact, you don't even have to be able to do it alone. Your writing friends can help you, and you can help them. I'd like to invite you to join Prolific Writers Life. There's a URL there, prolificwriters.life. That's one of my writing communities. And we work on our writing projects in live online work sessions. Many of the members are experts who offer classes and services through the platform. So it's kind of like a conference that goes on all the time with like writing sessions. So I'd love to see you there if you want to join us. So that's two of the three things that I have to say. Number one, you're part of the family of writers, and I welcome you. And number two, seek out community. Find your writing friends. Join me at Prolific Writers Life if you want. And especially look for fellow writers that you can meet up with in real life, because there's really nothing like real life for true community. So here's number three. Let your work make its way into the world by whatever means makes sense at the time. And I'm going to talk about some of those means in the rest of my presentation. So psychologists have found that the best way to create motivation, which you might have trouble with, is perceived progress. So it's not enough to make progress. You have to notice that you're making progress. And a great way to notice that you're making progress is by sharing short pieces. You can totally still write a book, or you can collect your short pieces into a book like I did with Your Writing Matters. Or you can do like Amanda recommends and write a poetry memoir. And I definitely recommend that you get Lita's book, Writing Memoir in Writing Memoir in Flashes, to help you with all of that. She's got great exercises in there and really good advice on amazing excerpts of different short things that people have written to inspire you. But no matter what your publication plans are, sharing your work in short formats can help you keep advancing on your writing journey, because you'll experience progress. You'll experience that you're making progress. So one way that you can try to get your work into the world is to submit to journals and other places that publish short memoir. Probably the most famous one is Brevity, but there are lots of them. And you can Google them. And I just want to share with you a little trick that I learned. After you type your search string into Google, you can type -AI, like -AI, and that will cause it not to generate an AI overview, so that you can avoid that if you want to. But the best way to find journals is to ask actual humans, such as people that you meet at this conference. So if you're here in the chat, you can type in places that you know that people can submit to if you want. Starting a conversation and meet people who might become your writing friends. So another way that's really fun is to make your own printed publications. So I love to make little publications. And sometimes I teach workshops about that. So if you'd like to find out about my future offerings, the best thing to do is join my mailing list. You can go to soundslikecake.com. My name, Keiko, sounds like cake, so I made this to be easier to spell than my actual website, which is just my name, and it'll actually, if you type soundslikecake.com, it will take you to keiko'Leary.com, so you'll be safe and not have to spell. For now, I would like to show you a few of my little publications. So this one, I call this an instant book, and it's folded from a single sheet of paper. Turns it, you just like fold it a certain way and it turns it into a book. The easiest way to make one of those is to fold one up, do it by hand with a pen so that it reproduces well, and then photocopy it as many times as you want. And if you would like to make an instant book, you can go to instantbooks.net. I have some resources there for you, including a template in Word, although I don't guarantee you that it will work with your version of Word, but it could help get you started. And there's actually a whole world full of people who create independent publications like this in this format and many others. And those publications are called zines, spelled Z-I-N-E, like the end of the word magazine. My experience of this community has been really positive. So if that sounds like fun to you, go ahead and make a zine. And maybe you can look for a zine fest that you can attend, because that's another way to seek community. The people are just wonderful. Postcards are, I'm like famous for postcards in my community. So these are some of the ones that I have published through Thinking Ink Press. You can print them at home on your home printer or get them printed at a local or an online print shop. And I see these for myself, the ones that I have made, I see them as a book. So this is the front cover and the first page. And then you turn the page, and this is the second page and the back cover. And then here's the copyright page. You probably can't see. And the great thing is you can just send them through the mail. Another way that I use postcards is I do memoirs comics a lot. So I'll, print a comic that I made on a postcard and send it to people I know. I feel like it's sometimes easier for people to be willing to read a comic than, a text. They feel like more able to just start reading it. And the art doesn't have to be fancy. You can really get a story across with stick figures. So another way to use postcards is poetry postcards. I participate in the Poetry Postcard Fest every summer, which is run by Cascadia Poetics Lab. I don't have the URL for that one, but you can look it up online or just talk to me about it. So I write spontaneous poems on blank postcards and I send them through the mail. So here's some examples. Here's some of my spontaneous poems that I wrote on postcards. Oh, and if you want one, I send them to people who are on my mailing list too, actually. So if you want one, go to soundslikecake.com and sign up for my mailing list, and then email me to let me know that you want me to send you a postcard, and you have to send me your mailing address and I'll send you one. But another thing that's really great about postcards is that you can use them to get first drafts. So think about a story that you want to tell or something that you just wanted to write about. Maybe you can use one of the ideas from Lita's exercise. She gave so many great prompts and ways to get an idea. And just take a postcard. You can take, like one of the ones that you got on vacation and never sent. Just write as much of it as you can, whatever this memory is, on the back of the postcard. Because limits are really useful when you're trying to make something. So that tiny postcard space can help you get to the core of your story. And then you can take a picture of the text or type it in and revise it later. And I really encourage you to actually send the postcard. Just after you've written it, think of who you know who would like to experience that. And go ahead and put a stamp on it and send it to them. Or even before you write, you can think of a person who you want to share a memory with, and then write specifically to that person on the postcard. it's actually really, like, you should totally try this. It's a really great way to get a good piece, or a good start of a piece, is like to write it to a very specific person. And then people love to receive mail, so you get 2 for 1. If you're not into postcards specifically, you can still write a short piece to a specific person and send it by email or text. My sister used to write stories about her life and send them by email to a group of friends, and it was so fun to receive those. And I know she could turn those into a longer memoir if she wanted to. So one final way that you can share short pieces, which I really love, is live events. You can look for open mics or storytelling circles. Lita Kurth actually co-founded the Flash Fiction Forum. So if you go to flashfictionforum.com, you can find out more about that. It is a curated showcase of authors reading short pieces. You can submit poetry and creative nonfiction as well, even though it's called Flash Fiction Forum. It's just short pieces. And it has a hybrid format. So if you're not in San Jose, you could still participate on Zoom. There are storytelling specific events, things like The Moth. We have one in San Jose called Storylines. Just look online for things in your area, and also ask other humans. That's really a good way to find things. I hope that you can find one near you. And also, you don't have to go to a specific storytelling one. You can look for just general open mics, because live events are one of the best ways to share your short pieces and to start building your writing community. I hope that you'll make use of what we've all shared today. If you want to hang out with me more, I'm here in Your Writing Matters. You can order it through your local independent bookstore or wherever you buy books, or you can ask your library to add it to their collection. And I really hope that you will also join me at Prolific Writers Life, which I don't know what I did with the postcard, but it's prolificwriters.life. Wonderful to be with you all, and happy writing.
Thank you so much, Lita. Or sorry, thank you so much, Keiko. Now we are going to pass it over to Lita just for some final parting words from everyone in the order that you read. So Lita, if you have some final words to share, we'd love to hear from you one more time.
I want to say something about a podcast. I think it's also on Facebook. It's called Coffee and Grief. And a woman named Ann Gudger started it, and I think it's monthly. And she'll have about 10 people. Sometimes they'll read a poem. Sometimes they will just share a memory. And one time someone sang a song. And it's a really powerful circle. So that might be something you'd be interested in. If you want to look for places to publish, sort of a key phrase is calls for submission flash memoir, or calls for submission short creative nonfiction. And you can include a lot of historical material. A lot of people will look up what was happening in the country in a newspaper for the time and place that they want to write about, and add that along with their personal memories. So with those suggestions, I will pass it on to Amanda.
Thank you. In parting, I would like to echo what Keiko said about the importance of community. When I'm with other writers, it feels like if there are 2 of us in the room talking, then we get 4 people's worth of ideas. And if there are 3 of us, then we get like 47 people's worth of ideas. This is something that I call poet math, but also magic. So I would like to say yes. Keiko is totally right about the power of being with other writers. So do please take advantage of the time you have here to meet and talk with other writers. Poets are the nicest people. I have never once spoken to a poet who said, "No thanks, I don't want a new friend." introduce yourself. You will not regret it. And yeah, I hope that your community expands just by making the choice to be here. Good luck, everybody.
I guess
And
my turn.
Keiko,
Thank you.
sorry.
I have definitely experienced poet math, or just writer math. It's amazing what can happen when you get people who care about the same thing into the same room. Um, I wanted to mention another way you can find other writers. If your community has a poet laureate, they might have events and ways to meet people. So a lot of cities have them, and a lot of counties have them, and states have them. And my most important advice is seek community, find writing friends. I found my postcard. You can join us at prolificwriters.life. But local is the best, and meet people here. I wish you a wonderful writing life with your writing friends.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Keiko. And thank you, Lita and Amanda. That was so inspiring and really motivating. Obviously, we have lots of writers in our audience, so I think this is going to be so helpful. Thank you for giving us so much wonderful advice and offering folks ways to join your writing communities. That's very special and something that I know a lot of people are looking for, especially ways to join remotely. That's awesome that you have opportunities for people to do that. And Keiko, I loved your little publications and zines and postcards. Those were awesome. Thank you for sharing those with us. I'm definitely going to sign up to get some snail mail from you as soon as we're done recording this. But truly, just thank you all for being so generous with your advice and your encouragement to our audience. That was really, really wonderful. Thanks also to Mackenzie, GetLit's assistant coordinator, for all of their hard work today and behind the scenes leading up to this event. Thanks also to student assistant Adam Westerholm and all of our MFA interns who helped make the festival possible. To everyone watching at home, I hope that you'll join us for more festival events, both in person and here on Zoom. I also want to remind everyone at home that we have links embedded in all of our event descriptions that will lead you directly to our local indie bookstore, Aunties, so you can purchase or pre-order all of the books by today's writers. Thank you, Aunties, for being our official festival bookseller. Please visit our website, getlitfestival.org, for our full schedule and more information about all of our authors, including today's 3 talented writers. Thank you all again for joining us today. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, great to see you. Thank you.